All right, I made a previous couple videos, dumb stuff I've done, my cousin edition, and in one of the previous videos, I had actually laid out a story that had happened after we were out of high school. And I went back shortly after publishing it and edited out that portion of the story. So if you know if you've seen the other videos, it's important you watch those to kind of get an understanding. I talked about some of the shenanigans we had. We worked together at this grocery store, a couple other things. But the reason why I edited out the time was I was concerned that because I was laughing about some of the stuff that would be taken out of context that I support or was okay with some of the behaviors that were taking place when that happened. And so you gotta understand, I was 20 years old. I don't think I was even 21 yet. And I came from city of Columbus. It's mostly city person or whatever, but say sheltered life. But just look, it is what it was. It was just a certain environment you want to call it whatnot, and you just had certain parameters, right? And as you've gotten older and you get wiser and you understand things and you understand the way things work a little bit, you become more in tune with different things. So I say that to understand that I don't condone this behavior. I don't think it's a proper behavior. And looking back, it's pretty problematic, actually, in some of it. But it's what happened. So it's just a story. And so in this story, I had a couple cousins I hang out with, and some of them, some was an extended cousin, so it's like a cousin of a cousin, but we all had family or whatever. And so one guy, he lived outside the city. He lived in a more rural part, but it was very close. It wasn't even far from me when we were living now. And he had went into the Marines, and he just got out of basic training, I think. And he was having a big party, wanted to celebrate, whatnot. And I remember because our other cousin, he had just come back from California not too long ago, and he was living up on the north side of town now. So we were out on the east side. He was living up on the north side, and he had an old lady. And so he was in with his old lady, and they would, from what I remember, she was built like a fullback. She wasn't no joke. And, they would have some dust offs. My cousin wasn't no joke either. Man. He was, not the one who was in the Marines, which he was there, but the other one too. And the other one ended up going to the Marines later, but he wasn't in the Marines yet. But he was just working construction and whatnot. But to say there's a lot of fights, it was all the time, right? I told a previous story, watched a previous video where he had beat up his stepdad a couple times, and it was nothing for go to the bar, get some fight, whatever. Anyways, so he's having a party, and so it's gonna be a bunch of his friends, some of us, and I remember I rolled up there. His dad had been, this is the other guy. He was a Marine, just got out. His dad had been a Marine. Even though the other cousin had come back from California, I had showed up. He hadn't seen me for a month or two, and I had bleached my hair blonde. Don't ask me why. Stupid, but I did. He was like, "Oh, you must have been out in California with your cousin or whatever." I just remember that, and getting a little heckling because of that. Anyway, so we're all hanging out. It's still daytime out. You're having a few drinks, but everything's fine. So we're sitting there, and a bunch of people are showing up. And so me and my one cousin there. So our other cousin shows up, the one from the other stores, whatever. And he's coming, driving down the street. It's crazy because the whole side of his car is all smashed in. And so we're all embarrassed and shit, Of course, it's our cousin there, all fucking destroyed car. Because what happened was him and his whole lady got in a fight. And he took a baseball bat, just bashed the shit out of the side of his car. Again, problematic behavior. I'm kind of laughing about it right now, but believe me, it's not funny. I mean, it's not a healthy relationship. There's a couple things, because I remember one time, and this is when he was living on the east side, and this was later, but he was living on the east side. I went to go see him, and it's funny because he was renting this house, and it looked just like a house that my family had when we were little. And he's like, man, it's like the same layout and everything, and it was. But it was a different neighborhood, but still, it was, whatever. It was kind of funny, but he was with his old lady, and they were having an argument about something, and he liked to have a sense of humor and stuff, tense situations. So they're fighting. So he's like, look, tell you what, if we split up, I want visitation rights with the dog. And she got mad, and he went to talk to her, and she's sitting on the sofa, and she chucks this water bottle, hits him in the forehead with it, and he got so mad, he picked up the fucking sofa with her sitting on it. I don't even know how he did this, but she was sitting on the sofa. He picked it up and tried to throw it out the window. He didn't, and but, it was, there was some things or whatever. Not a good, healthy relationship. But anyway, so he rolls up there. The other thing about him, too, he's a horn dog. Hits on every chick he sees. Just wouldn't, we go to the mall, every chick, go to check out. Hey, blah, blah, blah. And I'd be like, I got a boyfriend. Or I'm married or whatever. And he's like, happily, So he would just every single woman there, he would hit on. So he shows up, beat up car, he gets out. He sits down. At some point, he sits down in his lawn chair. And I'm sitting across from him, a chair or whatever. Not a lawn chair, but we were sitting there talking. I remember it was like a hot day. And I'm sitting there talking, and like, he was wearing these loose shorts, and you could see his fucking dick and nuts. Just like he's not wearing underwear or whatever. And I'm sitting there like, I'm trying not to, talk to him, but I'm trying not to look at him. And I'm like trying to ignore the situation as much as I can because, it's like his fucking dick's sitting right there, man. And it's like, come on, man. And finally, I'm just like, dude, what the fuck, man? Fucking wear underwear, don't sit across from me. It's like one of the two things. You either got to wear underwear or you can't sit across from me talking to me because I can't have your fucking dick staring at me when I'm talking to you, man. It's like, come on. And so I just remember that because it was fucking annoying. It's like, dude, I'm sitting there trying to talk like this the entire time. Because if you're looking at him, you can't help it just fucking there. So so you can't just ignore. You got to, pecker staring at you. So anyways, so I remember that. But anything would happen, we're drinking and whatnot. And I remember, there was these girls, a lot of women there, a lot of guys, women, everybody, a lot of people I didn't know just because of cousin or whatever. But I knew a lot of them, but didn't know some of them. So anyways, I remember there was a group, and there was this girl there. She'd been drinking, my cousin was drinking, my cousin's hitting on her, and she's receptive. She wants to hook up. He wants to hook up. Her friends don't want her to hook up. And so they're trying to extract her out of the party, right? They're trying to get her to leave because they think she's going to go hook up, and she don't want to hook up. And, she wasn't so intoxicated that she couldn't make a decision, right? She had drunk. And so I'm not saying that there isn't an element of, there's drinking, but she was not like what you would consider, at least perceptive-wise, that she was not able to make a rational decision. So the friends wanted, it wasn't because they were worried about her, or was it because, they didn't have a dude they were hooking up with, so they didn't want her to hook up and they're being bad wingmen. I don't know. I don't really remember. You're talking, it's over 20 years ago now, so I don't really remember. I just know this. They're extracting her from the party. He's trying to get her to stay. She wants to stay. She's telling my cousin she wants to stay. But they're trying to get her to leave. So they get to the car. I remember it was the girl, two other girls, and some dude. And the dude wasn't hooked up with any of the chicks, right? But I don't know. But it wasn't, from what I remember. So the two girlfriends were up in the front. The girl my cousin's trying to hook up was in the back. He's in the back sitting beside her. So they're going and they're like trying to put in reverse to start to back up. The girl rolls the window down. It's like saying stuff, hey, blah, blah, blah to my cousin. So that gets him to go over to the car. And he's like leaning in the window. He's like, fuck these fucking lames. And he's like, come with me. So he starts to grab her to like help her out the window, right? Or whatever. But I remember she was talking to him, trying to, still kind of carry it on or whatever. So he's grabbing her, like, trying to pull her out the window. Me and my cousin like, dude, what the fuck is going on? You can't pull her out of the door, pull her out of the window, man. What the fuck? So we're trying to talk to him. Well, the dude that was sitting beside her reaches over and tries to, like, grab my cousin. So my cousin, like, pushes her back. And it's like that scene, if you remember, from Forrest Gump. He's, like, out of the car and just starts throwing these fucking haymakers, just from out of the window into the window, just cracking this guy in the face. And I swear, it sounded so loud, it was like he was hitting the car, but he was hitting this dude. And he's just like, wham, wham. So the girl like spins up, almost tears my cousin's arm off. Me and my other cousin are sitting there like, what the fuck are we watching? We're just like, oh my God. Remember the dude, they go to pull off, you see that dude, his face all mangled and shit, he's like, oh, and we're just sitting there like, dude, is this real life? Is this real life? Like, who does this? who's in the situation. So we're like, dude, what is fucking going on in your head, man? So we're like talking to him afterwards. Like, dude, what the fuck is wrong with you, man? What the fuck? Everybody's having a good time. Everybody's hanging out. I get it, you wanted to hook up. I get it's disappointing. The answer is you pull the fucking out of the car and you start fucking beating the shit out of this guy for no fucking reason. I was like, what the fuck, you know? And and so, like, I'm laughing at stuff, but it's like laughing at disbelief. And that's one reason why I think I didn't like, before the presentation or whatever, that might be like that's condoning or okay, because it's not. There's a whole questionability about drinking, but like people drink and hook up all the time, right? So that's not in and of itself, but there are times where people obviously aren't in a good condition to consent, and as a grown adult and realizing that and stuff. And so there's some element of that, even though I don't believe that she was in a state. I'm not, I'm breathalyzed. I don't know what the fuck. But also just the fact, come on, man. Her friends are trying to leave, get her number, do something later, whatever. Don't, yank her out of the car and try to yank her out of the car, even if she's somewhat receptive to it. It's still not normal behavior to do that. So, talking about dumb things we'd done. And there was other stuff that night that was kind of funny, but that was one that stood out. Like I said, it was like seeing out of Forrest Gump. We were just like, boom, 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 smash this guy up and stuff. And I remember because it was like a small town there outside of Columbus or whatever. And, of course, there's talk around because everybody knows everybody. And so my cousin had a little heat about that shit because all the cousins saying, dude, what the fuck's wrong with him, man? He was all this stuff, and we had a reputation, about other stuff with the prank calls from years ago, because that girl with the prank calls in a prior video, she lived in the same small town. She'd be driving in to work at this grocery store in the city or whatever, but she was from a small town, so like there was all that shit that happened, and then this over like a couple year period or whatever, so it's pretty notorious that some bizarre collection of things. So at the time, it doesn't seem, necessarily that abnormal. But then you look back on it years later, and you're like, dude, some weird shit, man. So, but that was the story. A little bit of a Forrest Gump moment at a little party for getting out of the Marines, and so. The one guy, he ended up serving 2 tours. He's actually in a couple books. He was an amphibious vehicle driver. Came back and rescued some people when he was told not to. Definitely some heroic actions. The other one, for whatever faults he had when it came to women and stuff, he went over there as a chef, but, he had some shit went down even with that. He's a professional chef now. I went to culinary school and stuff, believe it or not. I don't know. It's been years since I've talked to him, either one of them, but, we had a lot of little shenanigans back then. But, yeah. That was an interesting one. Dumb stuff I'm doing is not just simply about my cousin. I just really wanted to finish that story, and I wanted to tell the story the right way, so I really wanted to get that out. I've been kind of slow on making videos lately. I'll be honest with you. Got kind of hooked on this freaking video game Cyberpunk, so I've been playing the crap out of that and haven't been making content like I wanted to. But also, I don't make any money for this content, so I don't really feel bad either. So, it's, maybe some, more videos or whatever, get monetized, and if people some way, and even indirectly, paying for it, then yes, I'll feel a little bit bad about that, but I'm not making any money off of it, so I don't really give a shit some ways. But I do like make content. I do it because people subscribe and comment, so it's just not about the money. It's never been about the money. It never will be about the money. I like doing this stuff. But I got some other dumb stuff. I've done stories, especially stuff, we'll get into a lot of fights, a lot of bar fights, a lot of street fights, a lot of, and don't get me wrong, like I said, it's not about being a tough guy or anything, like far from it or anything. It's just rolling out, just living a lifestyle or whatever, a lifestyle that I'm very far removed from, by the way, extremely far removed from. But, I say I have a little, souvenirs of a misspent youth. You can actually see right there. And keep trying to turn this way. It's actually, I can't see it. Yeah, it's not picking it up very good on camera, but saying slash across the cheek or whatever. Yeah. I don't know. Sometimes it's been so long I can't remember half the shit. Yeah, the thing right now, thickied right in there or whatever. But so there's some stories. Did some shenanigans or whatnot. But believe me, my life is, I want to say boring because work professionally wise, I'm extremely busy and everything. But home life, pretty normal. Just me and my wife, and like to lift weights and like to have a good time and just relax and everything. But there was a time where I'd say adrenaline junkie or whatever, but just say I like to experience things. So that's it for now. I'm gonna post this up. Check out my other videos. I got another, bracing my nerd side, another Doctor Who review. If you look behind me, Darth Vader's got Mr. Scar from like the Fourth Doctor or whatever. But I've been doing some reviews for that. So I got another one for Revenge of the Cybermen coming out. Got a new Nuclear War video coming out very shortly too, and one for Lancaster. The seedy underbelly of Lancaster, Ohio, for that year I lived down there and everything. And then next edition of Dumb Things I've Done will be some stuff there. Probably post high school when I was running with this one crew or whatever. So enjoy. Appreciate it. Thank you.